7.4, same sign neighbors. Given a list of non-zero integers, find and print the first adjacent pair of elements that have the same sign. If there's no such pair, print 0. Okay, so how do we do this? We check these two, then we check these two, and they're the same sign, so we print it. And that's it. That's basically it. And if we don't find it, we print 0. Okay, so let's take in our elements like we always do with this line of code that's already given for us. And it puts it into a list. And how are we going to know if we find something? So let's found equals false, right? We didn't find what we need. And while not found, we're going to look through our elements. We're going to say I equals 0. That way we can stop. Otherwise we can go through the whole thing. But while not found, and I is less than length of A, right? So we're going to go through and look through every element. We're going to go look through every element until the end, until length is less than A. A is going to take on just one less than the length of A. And we're not going to go beyond that. And what are we going to do? We're going to see, and by the way, I should probably be equal to 1. So we're going to start at 1 and look backwards, just like we did previously. Okay, and how are we going to know if it's positive or negative, or have the same sign? Well, if you multiply two things with negative and a positive, you get a negative. So what are we going to say? We're going to say if, and it's non-zero, if we're going to multiply AI times AI minus 1. If that is greater than 0, then we have a pair. Then we have a pair with the same signs. If they're negative, they're going to be positive. So what does that mean? That means found equals true to start, and our result, we'll just say result equals, what we're going to print is going to be equal to AI, or a string of AI, str of AI, plus, or actually it's not going to be AI, it's going to be AI minus 1 to start, plus str A of I. And let's put a space between there. Add a space between there, and that's pretty much it. And by the way, let's just say result. Let's instantiate it at 0 to start. So if we never find it, if this never ends up being true, we're just going to print result at the end. Print results. And I think that will solve it. And if you want, we can put an if statement. If length of A is greater than 1. So we need it to be greater than 1 for us to even start looking. Otherwise, you know, if we send a list of 1, we're not going to have a pair, obviously. So we're just going to print 0. So I think that's it. Let's submit. And I have an error. Let's see what's wrong. Oh, of course. Submit anyway. An error. Print result. Oh yeah. I don't know why I always do that. Let's run. Oh, see what happened is I have an infinite loop. What's wrong? Check your program took too long to execute. It's probably an infinite loop. Okay, so why is it an infinite loop? Because it probably didn't find anything. So not found. Found was never true. And I never changed, obviously. So the first 2 digits. So of course we have to say I plus equals 1. And honestly, we shouldn't be using submit to troubleshoot. It's pretty lazy because in normal circumstances you won't have a bunch of test cases. But anyway, it's a beginner course, so okay, something is definitely wrong. Oh, that's why. Not in the if statement. And finally submit. There we go. All right, you guys understand why it wasn't working? Because if it didn't find it, I would only increment if it found. So if the first 2 are different, these 2 are different, well, I wouldn't execute right here. Anyway, that's how this is done. Took a little longer than I expected. That's that.